Yo, what's going on guys? Arekkz here. Welcome back to another video for Monster Hunter Rise, and today I thought we'd do something different and I want to talk about 5 things that I would love to see in Rise. 5 features, 5 kind of returning features, more specific, things that were in previous Monster Hunter games that I would love to see make a return in this new game. So, if you guys do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated. Also, let me know in the comments down below, what would you guys like to see added into Rise? Obviously, it's a brand new game, they're adding a ton of brand new features, so honestly, I don't feel like many of these are actually going to make a return, but a guy can dream, right? So, let's kick it off with number 1, and that is the Wimporium. More specifically, part trading. If you guys remember Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, you will remember the Wimporium, and there was basically the little guy on the cushion, and there was your opportunity to go there and trade parts with him. Now, I don't just mean random parts like bugs and things like that. More specifically, trading for monster parts that were from monsters that were not in the game. Take something like Cydaeus, which has an incredibly cool armor set, one of my all-time favorite armor sets, and that obviously wasn't in 4 Ultimate. I mean, Cydaeus was an underwater fight. You can't fight that thing on land. I know they've converted some monsters to be able to fight on land. Cydaeus on land just wouldn't work. It would basically just be like a slug just lying there, just like, you know, anyway, that's that's my impression of Cydaeus on land. The point is, you could trade for parts for monsters that were not in the game, which then massively expanded the pool of available armor sets. And it just kind of allows you to sort of include more monsters without actually having to include the monster, if you know what I mean. You could take a game like Rise and be like, you know what, as much as I would love to see it, chance of Lagiacrus returning again, it's probably not going to happen, but you could put the armor and weapons in. Cydaeus, put that in. Gogmazios, Lao Shanlong, anything like that. Give me the ability to basically get a lot of older armor sets, even if the monster is not in the game. That was a fantastic feature. I loved it. For any of you who didn't play it, basically you would just take different monster parts. You would trade, I think for Cydaeus, I think you traded Deviljho parts or something like that. Basically, you just traded parts for parts. It was a cool system. I liked it, and it just gave us more stuff to craft and pursue. In at number 2, this one is something that honestly I feel is almost definitely not going to make it because of the way that the kind of system works now. We know when you start the game, you create your character, you create your one Palico, and we now create our Palamute. So the idea of kind of having multiple Palicos, back in the day, of course, you would go to the sort of Palico cat lady and you would then purchase multiple Palicos. It was great because in things like Generations, you could go and train your cats, give them loads of different skills. There was a whole different mechanic and whole sort of a nuance to, you know, building the best cats out there. And that was kind of a fun thing because it just sort of gave them a lot more, I don't know, a lot more value because, you know, you would customize and create these different cats. You would take different ones on quests with you, plus the ones you didn't use, you could also send off to, you know, do expeditions and gather materials for you. So it kind of felt like they had multiple uses. And I always just liked that because it was kind of a personality in the village. You go there, you see them training, you kind of work on that stuff. So having that, I mean, I understand why they don't, because obviously, you know, there's a lot of focus now on Palamute and Palico. So obviously, you know, you create it in the character creation menu. That one is much more important to you because it is your singular companion. But I do kind of miss that system. Then in at number 3, this one, I know from a convenience point of view, a lot of people might not miss this, but I really miss the manual farms from the older games. Specifically, Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. I loved the farm in that one, especially when you got it fully expanded. You would walk in, you have the cow, or the whatever it was, that you could gather dung from. You had your rows of soil, where you would then plant your, you know, mushrooms, or your plants, or things like that. You go to the back, you of course have the honey you can gather bugs from the trees, and you can then even go over to the mine, and you can go in there with the barrel bomb, and explode it, get a load of ores out there, you can climb up and you can mine manually. It was admittedly a bit of a kind of, well, obviously a manual process. It took a little bit longer, you go in there, you have to manually place things, move things around, farm them and whatnot, but I just really enjoyed that. There's something just more satisfying about doing the farming yourself, gathering the materials, rather than just going to a dude and being like, farm me some honey, farm me some bugs, and I'll be back in 10 quest time, and I'll get my rewards. I mean, it's convenient, and I guess people like convenience, but yo, I want to be a farmer. In between my hunts, I want some downtime where I can just sit there on my farm doing my business. Point number 4, I would love to see, and this one I feel like, you know, they might do this, I would like to see some kind of Guiding Lands / guild quests / relic weapons. What I mean by that, kind of an amalgamation of systems. If you guys played 4 Ultimate again, you'll be familiar with guild quests. Of course, you had all these different quests for different monsters. You went into this different map, which was, somewhat random at different times. You kind of, started in different places and there were sort of different pathways around. But generally speaking, you go around the map, you fight the monsters, but also it led to some rather interesting relic weapons, which were pretty cool. Some of those were so brokenly good, but that was a cool thing to pursue. Maybe not to that degree, because the RNG behind that was quite crazy. But I did like the relic weapon system, and of course the guild quest gave us something to chase endgame, and of course you then look to World and Iceborne, you have the Guiding Lands. In its current or its exact iteration, I don't want to see it return just like that, because there are elements of the Guiding Lands I don't really like. I find the juggling of layers and keep its level topped up actually really annoying, but I feel like a system that kind of combines both and gives you the chase of a guild quest with the reward of a relic weapon in the kind of open, explorable expanse that is the Guiding Lands. If they could find a way to combine all those together to give us some kind of endgame experience, that would be really cool. Maybe that's where the rampage system comes in. Maybe there's a lot more to it. Imagine rampaging around the Guiding Lands where you're just trying to run around. I mean, it's probably not going to happen given that we've seen the way that it's sort of presented with the whole sort of, the fort and whatnot. But regardless, something like that would be kind of cool. It'll be interesting as well to find out whether it's actually in this game, because of course, assuming that Monster Hunter Rise follows the typical Monster Hunter formula, then chances are this will be a low rank, high rank game, and then there'll probably be Monster Hunter Rise G or Ultimate at some point in the future, so we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, moving on to the final point, number 5. I'd love to see a return of the Deviant system. I thought Deviant monsters were incredibly cool. Again, for those of you guys that play Generations and Generations Ultimate, you'll be very familiar with this. If you didn't, then Deviants are basically different versions of existing monsters. They have different behaviors, different armor sets, they look different, they're incredibly cool, but the actual quest system, the progression system, was rather interesting. It worked around this idea that, of course, you would fight the monster, and then of course upon defeating it, you would unlock a higher level version of that monster. That would of course then progress, it would allow you to get more materials, and then when you created the armor sets, they would then need to be leveled up to unlock the set bonuses. So basically you had the system whereby you would fight these incredibly cool versions or these variants of these monsters, you would then get their armor sets, and you would then progressively level up that monster to then get the parts needed to, level up your armor, and then get some really cool sets in the process. Plus, some of the really endgame deviants were kind of difficult. They were pretty challenging. So I would love to see that system. Honestly, I don't see it making a return in Rise, or at least not right now, because again, there's so much new stuff they're packing into this game. I feel like if deviants even remotely existed, we kind of would have heard about it by now. So again, maybe that's something they could add into Rise G, Rise Ultimate, because that could be like an endgame pursuit, but I do miss the deviants. So there you have it. That's my list of 5 things that I would love to see in Rise. Not my list of things that I'm predicting, because honestly, I feel like not many of those are going to make it. But hey, if you take even one of those, I'll be super happy. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. What would you like to see return, even if it is not realistic? And of course, keep it locked for plenty more Rise content. If you want to catch more from us at Arekkz Gaming, don't forget you can catch the guys 269, Paradise Central and Investmore streaming over on Twitch weekdays, playing a variety of games. If you guys want to jump in, tune in, watch and even join in, then make sure you check them out. The links to those are in the description box down below, and of course you can join the Discord to get involved in all of the discussions.